Hello, 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 and welcome to this week's very special episode of Futon Talks. An episode where my phone immediately buzzes the second we begin. But also an episode where we go back in time to redo an episode that the gods smote down. An episode on the glorious film by Christopher Nolan, Tenet. I'm grateful to be here, Chris. I'm joined by Chris, by the way, the glorious Nolan Chris. Here. Exactly. As I'm his friend, so I get to call him Chrissy. That's what all of Christopher Nolan's friends call him.
Chrissy Poo.
Chrissy Poo. And but yeah, man, I'm excited to have you as I do every single week of my life. It's the best.
You can Sadly, always have me, Josh.
That's what I do.
At your disposal.
And you guys can always have us if you subscribe on Patreon,
that's right,
which we've never explained but mean to, as well as subscribing to us on Spotify and YouTube. We're everywhere. You can have us at your disposal.
Put us in your cozy little pocket and forget about it.
That's right. Forget about it. But don't forget about this movie, because it's amazing. All right? I want to tell a little story before we actually get into the movie and our experience of watching it several times and all the stuff we have to say about it. The first thing is just that we actually recorded an episode about Tenet, 2 months ago, Chris?
Something like that, yeah.
And it was my favorite episode we ever recorded. And then we listened to it. It was really good. It was corrupted. It was broken. And it was almost as broken as I was after realizing that I'd lost that part of me. So we're going to do our best to shout up to that glorious height that we reached that episode. But just saying, we've watched this movie a lot of times now. So I don't know if my perception has been changed, but I know that for me, this movie has like a warm, lovely place in my heart that it might not deserve. Just because like the memories associated with it because of the podcast and having watched it like 6 times. So I love this movie just as a preamble. But the first thing we should do, unless you want to comment on that, Chris, do you?
I will preface for all those who don't want spoilers now. I too love this movie, and I like it a lot more the second or third time around. It's a really good movie. It's just really good. There's some funny parts that shouldn't be funny, and there's just great acting and an awesome score. It's a really good movie. So that's your last warning.
Get out. Unless you don't care, then get on in. Let's go.
Yeah, jump right in.
And we'll start this one the way we start every episode according to tradition. But that we often don't actually abide by. But the tradition that we have in the book, and that tradition is this: in 3 words, Chris, describe Tenet. If you only had 3, what would they be?
I will use 2 of them from before and 1 new one.
Oh, hello.
So I'd like to start with Nolan.
Oh,
it's a Nolan film. Everything about it is just Nolan. He has his own genre of movie now. Mm-hmm. It's called a Nolan film.
It's very true.
Stylish is another one. It's a very sexy movie, very stylish.
Hello.
Good looking guys. Good looking girls.
Yeah. Baby.
And it's has a lot of intricate sequences that are stylish nonetheless. And then subtle is my new word.
Ooh, I like that.
A lot of this movie is very subtle. It's very in the background. It doesn't tell you anything really. There are points in the movie where it tells you don't think about it.
Yeah.
And that's the mindset that you should go into this movie with. Things are subtle. They're not going to be out in your face, so don't ask questions.
Don't ask questions. Oh my gosh, I love that. Do you remember the word that you disposed of in favor of subtle?
I have 4 words here for some reason.
Wow, look at you.
Complicated and predictable. But it's not complicated, really.
Interesting. I remember
predictable, actually.
You were just a fool last time.
I was just a fool. You had to explain it to me.
I did, and now I don't know if I can because it's been too long. Oh my gosh. Man, what would mine be? Because I don't have any recollection at all what my words were last time.
Wow.
I know. I think I made them up on the fly.
I think you did too.
But I've got some words here. I think one of them was at least shared with the last time. One of them is a phrase, so I apologize in advance. I understand if many of you unsub for this reason. But the first one will be a phrase, which is this. The experience of cinema. And I say that because I was supposed to watch the full movie today in preparation, but I opened up my Blu-ray copy, which I bought because I love this movie, and I realized that underneath the disc there is a special features disc. So I just watched the special features and then like half the movie. But
good job.
I know. Oh, it was so good too. I could just watch Christopher Nolan talk about anything all day. But specifically, a phrase came up over and over and over, and it was that phrase, the experience of cinema. I want to make the experience of cinema. And I think what that means is that he's not just trying to make something that you see or hear. He's trying to make something that you feel, you know? And something that you can only feel in a movie theater. I don't know if that makes sense. But it's just, he just said it in such a way that it was like so inspiring. I don't know. He just has a way about him. Anyways, but that experience of cinema where you're not just watching a movie, but you're in the movie and you feel it. And I don't know how to describe it, but this movie accomplishes that.
No, it's a very, I understand what you're saying. There are many scenes where it's very intimate, where it does feel like you're in the hallways while they're fighting or shooting at each other, or the battle scenes, or even the airport heist. You feel like you're one of the crew members running after the plane or something, you know? So yeah, I totally see what you're saying. I see what Christopher is saying.
What Chris is getting at.
Yeah.
I love that.
I dig what Chris is putting down, as you would say.
I'll pick it right up. And he just, I think that follows through, like that logic follows through any part of the filmmaking process for him, right? Like he meets with actors, this is getting off topic, but in the special features, there was interviews with John David Washington, with Robert Pattinson, not with Michael Keaton, because of course he's going to be in the movie. They didn't need to interview him at all. Okay. But talking about the process of Christopher Nolan hiring them and like casting them in roles. And like I said, Michael Keaton, he's going to be in the movie anyway.
Michael
It doesn't matter. Michael, oh my gosh, I call him Michael Keaton?
Twice.
I'm a fool. They're both associated with Batman. Beyond the point. But no, I was talking about Michael Keaton. But anyways, obviously doesn't need to talk about him. He's going to be in the movie. It's a Nolan film. But with both Robert Pattinson and with John David Washington, they literally just talked for 3 hours, never mentioned a movie. And then Christopher Nolan was just like, nice to meet you, and just left. They just hung out. He was just feeling it, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that is like the main hallmark of Christopher Nolan's style as a filmmaker, is that he wants to feel the vibe from the actors, feel the scene, feel the presence of everything that's in the scene, the props. You know, everything's real, pretty much. Anyways, off topic. But that was my first word, the experience of cinema.
I like it.
My second word is
just
almost
lost half our subscribers.
I know. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, guys. You come back for the rest of the podcast. Don't stay for our traditions that we never follow. But in tradition, or I guess perhaps not tradition, but just something that always seems to happen, I copy you with one of my words. My second word is sexy. Seems like we always share one. But man, this movie is just sexy. Everything about it. Like, I mean, and just like to make sure everyone understands, there's like one lady in this and she's like 7 feet tall. Like, it's not like that. It's just like everything is so smooth and beautiful and like sensual. And John David Washington with his red suit and oh baby, and And Robert Pattinson, his linen suit, man. The scar. Oh, baby. Like, I would die to be Robert Pattinson. Like, just the cars and the way it's shot and the action, beautiful. So I agree. Sexy's got to be a word.
It has to be.
And my final word is yay! Yeah. Which, if you haven't seen the movie, makes no sense. And if you have seen the movie, perhaps still doesn't make sense. But I love Kenneth Branagh.
Yes. It's a very good scream.
Oh.
It's out of nowhere.
It's amazing.
I don't think a movie has ever captured the anger of a husband quite as well as Tenet. With Sator going, yeah!
as he hovers his foot over his wife's face like a dog.
It's terrible, but we've all been there.
As a disclaimer, we have not actually been there.
No, we've not been there.
Only in our minds has the scream escaped. Oh my gosh, hilarious. I love that scene. And I think that like it makes me think of what you said earlier about like how some scenes are like genuinely funny and some are just like they're not supposed to be funny, but like I roll over laughing whenever they come on. Oh my gosh.
I totally forgot about it too.
It's my favorite part.
Yeah.
I was halfway through the movie and I scrubbed through to get to that part just so I could watch it before we started the podcast.
Oh my gosh. Oh. I mean, there are so many one-liners from John David Washington.
I know. They're so good.
They're just so good.
I ordered my hot sauce an hour ago. Oh, baby. I love
Mission
that scene.
accomplished.
Yep. Oh my gosh, dude. Oh, man. That makes me so happy.
Me too.
Where do you think we should go from here? How do you think we should tackle this bad boy?
Dude, I think... Should we just start with what the movie is?
Yeah, try
to explain it to each other.
I love it. How do you want to try to explain it to me? Like, give me a synopsis?
Sure. I won't even look at my notes. That's all.
Oh, look at you.
That's how fearless I am. So basically, we follow a man who, after he kills himself to protect his agency, he is brought back to life, and he's on like a top secret mission now to try to prevent World War III. And the cause of World War III, like his guess is nuclear holocaust. But he finds out after going, like, the people that revived him told him that, like, you got to just say Tenet. You got to interlock your fingers, put your thumbs out like a bridge, and you'll open all the right doors, maybe some of the wrong ones. And so John David Washington, who is only known as the protagonist now, finds out that there are people in the future who are reversing the entropy of certain items to send them to the past. So once he gets into a few doors through Tenet, he meets this lady. She explains it to him, and she's like, well, we got these bullets where you catch them instead of shoot them. So their thought process is, what if whoever's in the future sends like a nuclear bomb into the past, it will destroy the past. But sooner or later you find out that there's this one man who has like a doomsday device that will end all existence. It's called the algorithm. And the protagonist's job is to get it, but he gets in a few I don't know. He meanders through a love interest kind of, and he saves a lady and her son. And he meets Robert Pattinson and the guy from Yesterday.
Yes.
That's basically the movie.
Yeah.
In a nutshell.
Pretty much. Yeah. No, that was perfect.
Thank you.
Like, there's some details in there that are pretty much impossible to explain unless we really go into it. So
exactly.
I think you did a perfect job, my friend. But man, I think the best thing to do with movies like this is, man, go over some highlights and then just talk about the characters and just see where it takes us.
Let's
You know
just
what I mean?
talk about it.
Just talk about it. I've got a couple facts about it. If you want me to do that as a jumping off point, and then maybe we can go from there. I don't know if these were supposed to be fast ones, but I'll tell you this: the budget of this film was $205 million, which is the most expensive movie ever produced with a person of color as lead, as well as Nolan's most expensive film ever made. Along with it being its most expensive, it's his most recent. It was the 11th film he ever did. Yeah.
It's crazy to me that this movie's more expensive than the likes of Interstellar or the Dark Knight series. I'm sure if you combined all three movies, they're more expensive, but like even the Dark Knight Rises has some pretty crazy special effects.
What do you think made it so expensive? Do you think it was the globetrotting?
I think it was the airplane.
The airplane. I remember reading
maybe the globetrotting. That would make sense.
Because they're like on the Amalfi Coast in like the middle of the summer. You know, when
They got
people want to be
yachts
at the
everywhere.
Amalfi Coast. Yeah, there's freaking,
Nice
I don't know.
cars.
Nice cars. They're crashing over
They're
and
all
over and
driving
over.
like Mercedes Benz.
Oh, yeah. And BMWs is beautiful. I don't even like cars, but I want to because of this movie.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, also like Robert Pattinson's in the movie. And like, you know, Michael Caine. And they're
At
expensive
this point, wouldn't you
people.
think that Michael Caine just does it for free at this
I feel like,
point?
yeah, he just does it as like a favor because they're friends.
Yeah.
I imagine.
He was only in the movie Mr. Crosby was only in like
Yeah.
one scene.
Yeah, it's literally just the one scene. That's it. And in the whatever they're called, behind the scenes, they literally did like that. They did one take and they're like, Michael Caine is done. And then Michael Caine just left. Like, it's so weird.
That's awesome.
And they're also like a freaking unit, apparently, which I didn't realize. Like,
What do you mean?
apparently, Christopher Nolan works with the same people pretty much every movie. But
Yeah,
not
he's kind of
just...
like a Wes Anderson.
Yeah,
or,
yeah.
Scorsese in that way.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, but with like everything. Like the guy who does his VFX, same guy every time.
Same guy? Huh.
It's the guy who like
I mean,
does all
if you
the
trust
camera work.
someone, why would you hire someone else, you know?
It makes sense, you know? And same thing with director of photography, all that jazz. Same dude every time.
Was his brother involved in this one?
I don't know. I didn't see anything about it in other Nolan.
Okay. Because usually,
Pretty
like,
wild.
Interstellar was a co-op between the two of them, and I know they've worked together before. I
Interesting.
think they did The Prestige
I
together.
love The Prestige. It's one of my favorite movies.
I can't wait to get to that movie in 8 movies,
Yeah.
however long it is.
Yeah, and by the way, to everybody, we're doing a series,
Oh,
or
yeah,
we'd
that's
like
right.
to do a series. That's never been said because the other episode never
yeah.
went out.
Yeah, so
You wanna
we're going backwards to the Nolan films.
Because we're so creative.
Yeah. Do you think we should have a futon fight about the Nolan films?
Oh, what is there to fight? Like,
I don't know. Like,
Part of me
which one's
says
the
yeah.
best? Ranking them?
that might be fun. That'd be fun, like a cumulative episode at the end when we rank them all.
Or should we do
See
it
how they stand up.
at his first movie? Like at the end.
Do you remember what his first movie was off the top of your head?
No.
I was like, I don't either. So
It was like some
I-
indie film that cost only like $5,000 or something, or $50,000.
how his tastes have changed.
Yes.
But well, I don't know. I guess we'll have to see when we get there. I feel like it'd be a
Yeah.
disservice to that one. But
It might be, you're right. But that's for another time. That's for the past.
that's right. The past, which has not happened yet. Ooh. Gosh, man. I guess that's maybe the first thing we should talk about is like just the idea of the film in general. Like with the entropic inversion, how it's not time travel. I don't know. It's just such a wild movie. Christopher Nolan always seems to be obsessed with like time or with like reality and the way it bends. I don't know how to describe it. Sorry, somebody just started vibrating.
Sorry, I just saw that Aspen bought Twilight Eclipse.
Nice. She knows what we're going to be doing next week.
No. Actually, I'd be fine with that. Those are good movies.
I know you like the Twilight movies. I like them ironically, but I think you like them genuinely.
I wouldn't say genuinely.
You love them. It's another Robert Pattinson movie.
This is true.
But
what were we talking about?
I don't know. I think we were just getting started, but let's just start with the characters. Just talk about them and the moments that we liked and what we like about them. And we'll just throw in some tidbits. First would probably be the protagonist, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is a dumb name.
It is a horrible name. Bad Christopher.
Bad Nolan. I don't know what the idea was. Like, what do you think the point? Like, why? Why did they do this?
I don't know. It makes no sense.
Everyone else has names.
Maybe because he's not supposed to have a name because he's dead.
But he's not dead.
Well, he's dead to everyone else. So you can't have like a name or an identity.
Oh, I understand what you mean.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about the ending. I was like, I don't think you got it. He's very alive.
He was dead the whole time, right?
Isn't this The Sixth Sense? Sorry to all you people that haven't seen The Sixth Sense. but
That'll be my only guess.
Maybe. I don't know if it's supposed to be like a commentary on protagonists in film. If it is, I don't know what it could be saying. That he's generic.
Was Ready Player One's protagonist called Player One?
I sure hope not. I think he had a name because he's a human. But I don't know. Christopher hasn't heard of these human things, so I don't know. He didn't give him a name for some reason.
But no, John David Washington is awesome in this movie.
Mm-hmm. He's
I
great.
love him. I prefer him over his dad.
Ooh, hello.
Like
Watch
right
out,
off the
Denzel.
bat, watch out, Denzel. Like his intense action scenes are so good. The one that gets me the most is not the kitchen scene, but when he's interrogating the Indian arms dealer.
Oh,
And
when he has
he's
the
like,
yes.
I'm not the one that people negotiate with. I'm the people that make people talk or something like that.
Yeah.
It's so good. I just love that scene. He like cocks his gun and he like puts his hand over his ear and it's really intense.
He has a certain charisma, man. I agree.
Yeah. Something about him.
He can just carry films. It's a sexy man.
He can carry films and he's like a nobody. Not really because his dad's like a huge actor, but I don't remember him.
Because he was a football player.
And he's a football player.
He's a celebrity.
I mean, I didn't know Denzel had a son until this movie. You know?
Yeah.
But no, he steals the show for sure, and he should be in more things.
I agree. I'd love to see him in more stuff. I think you're right that especially the fight scenes. He just brings this, not even the fight scenes, but just this presence. He brings this physicality to like whatever he does. And like I'll never stop feeling hyped whenever I see him punch that dude like 5 times into the
Oh
glass wall.
yeah.
It's so like, oh my, it makes me want to like get up and like start punching the wall. Like it's just so cool.
Or like the cheese grater scene.
Oh yes.
Oh, it's so good. Like he waits for the guy to punch to grate his hand.
I know.
And then he grates his face across the table.
Dude.
That still makes me like cringe.
Oh, I still think that kitchen scene is one of the best action scenes ever. Yeah. Like it's just
so good.
It's short, it's sweet, and it is just visceral. It's so good.
I think the movie loses that a little bit during the battle scenes. Yeah. The action
like the big battles.
Yeah, the big battle at the very end. All the action becomes a little more passive. And it's just kind of happening. You're not really in the moment with it. Especially because you don't know what's coming from what time. Because there's explosions. I don't know what would be the word. I guess just going backwards. And then there's the actual explosions.
I agree. I think that it becomes, in that last scene, you need to watch it like 5 times to understand what's happening. It's just a little too confusing. Like, it's really cool if you just turn your brain off and watch the explosions go forward and reverse, you know? But if you're actually watching it to understand what's going on, it's pretty difficult to understand. I guess let's talk about some of the things we didn't like about the movie really quick. Just because I think we're mostly really positive. We can start with the things we didn't love.
Why is that one guy not Tom Hardy?
Which one guy? Oh, the guy Ives?
Yeah, Ives.
Yeah,
why is he not Tom Hardy? He looks like a...
He's just Tom Hardy, but different.
Just Tom Hardy. Just smaller.
I agree. Scottish freaking Tom. I can't say his name. But yeah.
Yeah. I don't... Why not? He was in Dunkirk. He was in Dark Knight Rises.
He's part of the entourage. He was...
Maybe he was kicked out.
Was he Inception? He was in Inception, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah, he was. You're right.
Because he's the guy with the big gun. That's
yeah.
Tom. Yeah. He's in everything. Come on, Nolan. What are you doing? Casting this other dude. But, maybe the other guy is famous in another country. Because I know that there were several actors that he cast specifically that were famous in, like, other markets. Like, Priya is apparently the freaking Beyonce of India.
Oh, okay.
Which I didn't know. I thought she was just some, she's just a lady.
How would you? You're not from India.
I'm not from India. So maybe Ives is like this hyper famous Scottish actor in the Scottish film scene. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, maybe he's just like a British actor that's famous. Like Tom Hardy.
Like Tom Hardy. Exactly. That's freaking weird. But I thought that too. I was like, because sometimes they have like insanely famous people in roles. Mm-hmm. And then there's other people that I'm like, who's this person? And why is it not just this other guy you have in every movie,
Yeah. No.
Where's Christian Bale? I actually don't want Christian Bale in this movie.
Yeah. We're good.
We're okay, Christian. Go back to your hidey hole.
There's something wrong with Nolan's films with the audio. And
100%.
I'm not one of those people who's like, I can't understand what they're saying. I was watching
Chris
the movie
is over here with
subtitles.
rabbit ears. Thinks he's so cool because he doesn't have to read.
I turned off the subtitles.
What's wrong with you?
And it was fine.
Impossible. Literally inaudible.
Totally fine. The only part
look. Here's what it's. I want everyone in the audience to understand what it's like to watch this film if you don't have subtitles. Start talking, Chris.
So there's like
wah wah wah.
No. The only part where it was hard to hear people was during the scene where the guy's walking Robert Pattinson's character, Neil, through the airport and being like, this is our like precautions in case there's a fire, and he goes into the actual airport hangar, and obviously it's going to be loud in there. There's a plane in there. It's like a big metal box with a plane in it. Of course it's going to be loud. But that was the only time. And I could still discern a few words.
That's all Chris needs.
That's all I need.
Because he's special.
But besides that, the only problem is, the music is really loud when it shouldn't be.
Yes.
I can still understand the words. The music's great, but it doesn't need to make every word sound inaudible.
Oh, okay. They sound inaudible, but they aren't for you.
Yeah, I understand what they're saying.
I'm glad. All right, for all those in the audience, if you're a normal person, you need subtitles.
Okay.
I don't know. Some people have
some subtitles.
I have bad hearing, though. I admit, I do have horrible hearing.
Dude,
so
I have bad hearing.
I don't know how you understand.
At least that's what my wife says.
I think you subconsciously read lips and you just don't know it.
But like when I went to go see Interstellar in theaters, that was a problem. Because the music
I don't have a problem with that one.
Well, no, I don't on my TV. But in the theater, the audio mix was so bad that it was shaking the theater. Like my seat was shaking during the Saturn black hole scene.
Oh, baby. That's awesome, actually. But I understand what you're saying.
It was like almost painfully loud. Like I was going to start crying because my eardrums were being destroyed.
This movie definitely has moments like that. Like I saw this in theaters. I don't know if you got to. but
No.
it's loud.
Yeah.
It was worse in theaters, I admit. Like, watching it at home, it's better. It's easier to hear people. But, yeah, in theaters, it was, like, thunderous when any explosion happens. But the other problem I have with the audio, and this is more of an at-home problem, is that if you live within, like, I don't know, if you live in an apartment or if you live within a mile of another family, they will be able to hear this movie because you'll like turn it up to 30 because they're talking and they're like whispering to each other for some reason on Priya's rooftop and it's really quiet. And then right after that, they'll move into a scene where like your speakers are being blown out. Like, so you're constantly like adjusting the volume so it's not too hard to hear or like too quiet. Christopher Nolan just has this weird thing with sound. I don't know what his problem is.
Yeah, I don't know. That is another thing. It's not a constant. It's just like there's a few scenes where it's just like a jet engine is in your living room.
And it's so sudden too. There's no preparing. It'll be like a screen wipe and then
yeah.
Like,
the best
so
you'll
loud.
get is like the bass from a synth going like that's all you'll get. That much time.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's still great, but yeah. I remember just like, I don't know, I don't have to do that with a lot of movies. But with this movie, I'm constant. I've got the remote in my hand at all times. Because I like don't want to wake up my neighbors
or something.
Yes.
But yeah, Christopher, check your ears.
He should go into the doctor. But I have one other complaint. It's not a real complaint, but it's a complaint. I am not like a spy genre aficionado, but the spy films I've seen, I really like. You know, my favorite spy movie is probably actually not Tenet. It might be Tenet, but it's probably Casino Royale. I love Casino Royale, and I think
great movie,
isn't it? Oh, yeah, I think Daniel Craig, probably the greatest, like bar none, easily the best Bond, but the greatest spy ever in a portrayal of a spy. I just think he's perfect, and there's a couple reasons for that. But in the special features, Christopher Nolan was talking about how he wanted, like, they wanted this film to be, they wanted Tenet to be to the spy genre that Inception was to the heist genre. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It wanted to be just like a love letter to it, right? And like the next level. And he said that one of his problems with spy movies is that they're often these cynical characters that have this emotional side to them which is unexplained, kind of. And obviously in a reference to Bond, because Bond is pretty much the only actual spy character, right? I mean, there's like Bourne, but he's the real one, right? So, I don't know. I think that Bond is a much more interesting character than the protagonist. In his thought process was, I'm going to make the protagonist more ethical and like make his morals more understandable. That was like he was trying to make the protagonist more likable, essentially.
Interesting.
Which I think he did. I think the protagonist is really likable.
Well, yeah, he's really thought out and he's very methodical, and the protagonist puts everything into consideration when he makes a choice. When Bond is very emotional, and he moves on emotions more so than his mind, you know, through thought process and stuff. Because he's always like, I'm going to save the girl, no matter the cost, you know. No matter the cost. I will be tortured.
I will destroy
my balls
the
will
world.
be whipped for this lady.
Yes. No, I agree.
So, no, yeah. So,
but
and
just,
I don't know.
I just think it's an interesting comparison to compare Bond to the protagonist. Because for me, I think Bond comes out on top. I think he's a much more interesting character. And just in the span of Casino Royale, not taking into account, the 50 other movies, not that they build on each other, but just like, I don't know, there's just some depth and reality that's part of Daniel Craig's Bond that I don't feel is present. And I feel like Bond is actually a better person than the protagonist. Like, I feel like Daniel Craig is like endlessly good, and he's just trying to hide it. And that's what makes him so interesting, right? Whereas the protagonist is like, I don't know, I feel like he's a good guy, but he's also willing to like do stupid things. Like, I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know. I think they're similar though. I don't know why it stuck out to me so much. I just was thinking about it.
Do you think Casino Royale is better than this movie?
Yeah. I mean, I love Casino Royale. I love Tenet though.
Me too.
But I think Casino Royale is better. But I don't know if it's fair to compare them. Like, they're both spy movies, but this is a very different type of spy movie.
I almost don't consider this a spy movie. Like,
what would it be? Like, what genre is it? It's like an ode to spy films, but I don't think it's really a spy movie.
More of like an action thriller.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe Nolan just failed completely. No. Because, like, Inception, that's a heist film.
Yeah.
You know?
Sure.
Like, through and through. But this, I don't know if it's a spy movie. Maybe we don't like this movie. I'm just kidding.
Does it make it a spy movie when there's, like... Because you can almost say that this is a heist movie. Because they're basically just being sneaky to get what they want.
Any movie where you're sneaky.
But, like, does that mean any movie where there's, like, some covert operation? Does that make it a spy movie? I've never seen James Bond use, like, 4 fire trucks to get into a van to get something out of it, you know?
Maybe it's a spy movie because of the way it looks.
Maybe.
Because it looks like a spy movie.
I think this is more akin to... I'll put it this way. This is more to Metal Gear.
Yeah.
Like Casino Royale is to Splinter Cell.
I could see that.
You know?
One's real. The other one's just ridiculous.
And one's just ridiculous where there's some extra piece in there that throws the spy thing out of the equation.
Mm-hmm.
Like it almost overpowers any spy nuance there is.
Because there's spy
and that
stuff.
Thing is time
like
travel.
Yes, it is the time travel. And Kenneth Branagh. But yeah. I love Kenneth Branagh. But like, because there's elements, right? Granted, they probably should have used the right gun if they wanted it to be a spy movie, but that's okay. But like, there's speedboats, there's cool cars, there's like men looking great in suits, there's like a beautiful tall lady who works or is affiliated with the evil guy.
So aesthetically, it looks like a spy movie.
Yes.
But it's not.
But it's not. Interestingly enough, Emily DeBecke, also in Man from U.N.C.L.E., a good spy movie.
Yeah.
Which I like, at least. I don't know if you've seen it, but I like Man from U.N.C.L.E. Although I refuse to watch it again. My wife always wants to watch Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Who's the main actor in it?
Henry Cavill, Armie Hammer. Those are the two leads. And then Emily DeBecke's the villain. Spoiler alert. I don't know if that's obvious in the movie or not.
I think it is.
But yeah, I like Man from U.N.C.L.E. It's cute.
Yeah.
Anyways, totally aside from the point. Hope we didn't lose him on with our 30-minute long discussion about what makes a spy movie and comparing this needlessly to Bond. But
hey, if Christopher Nolan did it, so can we. That's
right. That's why I'm buying a plane right now and crashing it. Whatever he does, I can do.
So is that your final complaint for the movie, you think?
I'm trying to think. Like, that's the one that I had written down. It sounds bad because I like the protagonist, but there are definitely parts where in the beginning in particular, where sometimes I feel like his lines are not delivered perfectly. But it's not a big deal.
I'm the protagonist.
Exactly. Like, it's like he didn't have much to work with. You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to say.
You know what? He would be a great Bond.
Oh, I think he would be. I think he should be the next Bond.
He should be.
I think he's in talks for it, right? Because they talked about Idris Elba for a while.
I think Idris is too old now.
I think he's like 50. He also was in Cats, so that kind of disqualifies him along with Taylor Swift. But like,
Not Taylor.
not Taylor. She was
Ian
my
McKellen,
favorite
you were
Bond.
supposed to be the next one.
Would have been perfect. McKellen M. Anyways, but yeah, I think he'd be the perfect Bond, man.
Mm-hmm.
And this would have taught him how to look at least. So
Yeah.
there you go.
Now he just needs I don't know. He is charming, but he needs something that's more Bond-esque. He needs more flaws.
He just needs depth, which is flaws, right?
Yeah.
I think you're right. It just requires a different script because this is like, there's just every once in a while, like you said in the beginning, like, I don't know, just flaws with the script. I don't know if they're flaws, but I mean, this movie's 2.5 hours, and I don't think it could be a second longer. Yeah. So I don't think there's anything they could do to fix these problems. I think this is just the best possible version of this movie. I don't know if that makes sense. But
no, it does. It does. It was already getting kind of overbloated.
Yeah. This movie feels long. Which is good sometimes, but also if you're,
I think there's a few too many Priya scenes.
Yeah, I don't feel
I felt like
Priya
2
stuff.
And then the ending would have sufficed. There's like 4 times he goes and like talks to her and she tells him that he's the protagonist. And then the next time she's like, there's more than one protagonist. Stuff like that, so.
Yeah, the meta stuff.
I would have
the
liked
meta
more Robert
narrative is
Pattinson.
the worst part. Thank you.
Give me more Leon S. Kennedy.
Oh, baby. Oh, baby. It'd be perfect. Dude.
It'd be awesome.
I'll say, let's move on from the second best acting performance to easily the best acting performance in human being with Robert Pattinson. He's hilarious.
He's awesome. And hilarious.
Oh, he's just so cool.
I love watching him shoot a gun.
I love watching him do anything, man. Watch him drink his vodka tonic all day long. We're going to get sued for harassment after this episode.
Yes.
Oh, baby.
So, while we're talking about Neil, I brought this up at the end of the last episode, or the last time we recorded this.
Yes.
But there's I think a popular fan theory that the little boy is Neil. And I think that makes total sense. He speaks Estonian.
He does speak Estonian.
He knows how to dress well because he's a millionaire. And I mean, he's a blonde boy. He's a blonde guy.
He's
just
blonde.
Just like Max.
It's right.
Just like his mom. I think it makes sense. Because at the very end of the movie, the protagonist saves them while they're at the school. And you also know that Neil says, "This is the end of a beautiful friendship for me and the beginning for you." You know?
Yeah.
So, the next scene, protagonist kills Priya and saves the boy. And then from then on, they can be best friends. Whatever.
Yes. Oh my gosh, he's like his dad. He's going to move in with freaking Cat. Wow. I think that's a great theory. I don't think you said that last time, but I did. My mind, I would still be scraping it off the walls, dude, if you had said that. That's freaking amazing. I love that theory.
Yeah.
I think
it's awesome too. I think like they've never confirmed anything, but how can it be anything else?
Come on, Nolan verse. Come on, man. I would love that. I think that it makes so much sense too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because oh my gosh, it's so.
There's scenes with Neil, like the first scene with Neil. He says, "Diet Coke for him." He doesn't drink on the job, and stuff like that. And the protagonist is like, "How do you know that?" Mm-hmm. And Neil just like blows him off or whatever, and then he says, "You don't drink on the job." Or no, he says the protagonist is like,
seltzer water.
"Yeah, I'd rather have seltzer water." He's like, "No, you wouldn't."
Yeah.
Which at first, when you're watching that, you might think that Neil's being a jerk.
Just being mean.
But it would make more sense. He knows that because of how much time he spent with him and stuff.
With his pawpaw. Man, that would be literally perfect. I would love that.
It honestly, for me, it makes Like, I don't like number scores or anything, but it would make this movie from like maybe an 8 to a 9 or a 9 to a 10, you know?
It would definitely bring it up a full letter. Like, I don't know if that should be that way, but I agree. Like, that would...
It should be, for sure.
What a cool, like, nod to end with.
Yeah.
And just the ending of this movie in general is very powerful. I love this. I love the ending of this movie, which maybe we shouldn't skip to that, but we are talking about Neil, and he's kind of important to the ending.
He's important to the ending, but we can put a pin in it if you want.
No, let's do it. Let's do it.
Honestly, who else is there to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, literally, there's Kenneth Branagh, which we'll talk about King Henry in a second. And then, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. And then we'll
Elizabeth, we'll talk about.
Oh, yeah, Cat. I like Cat, too. I just dropped a ruler. I'm so sorry. But yeah, man, the ending. So I don't want to like try to map it out for everybody. I feel like if you've seen it, you understand. If you don't, then there's nothing we could possibly do to help you. You know, like, yeah. And if you haven't seen it, we can't do anything to help you. You just have to watch it. But essentially, there's this big battle, and they're trying to do a temporal pincer maneuver, which is when they go in one time, going in the correct normal direction to gather intel, and then immediately afterwards they have another team come in from the future or coming backwards that has that information already. So they're at the same time, but one's using information the first team got. Anyway,
it's very cool.
It's freaking awesome. And Neil is part of the forward team.
Yes. No, he's coming from the future going backwards. He has the information. Yeah.
Yes,
that's right. He does.
So this is why it's complicated. So at first, he's supposed to be going backwards. It's the reverse team, we'll call them. And he sees that John David Washington is in trouble. Well, he sees the protagonist is in trouble. So he undoes it halfway through, and then he goes back, and there's a car and room, and I don't know how to describe these things, Chris.
So
I don't know how to do it justice.
Neil sees something where he knows that the protagonist will be killed.
Yes.
So he switches from going backwards into normal time midway through the operation, and he drives the Jeep to get to where they're going to be, to unlock a door, and then save his life by taking a bullet for him.
Oh, it's so sad.
But John sees this as the future, right?
Yes.
No, he sees it. He sees that it has already happened.
Yeah, and then the dead body gets up to eat the bullet, remember?
Yeah.
Because the body is like dead at his feet. And he's like, weird, there's a dead body at my feet. And then the Avlov, the evil guy who's setting up the algorithm to go off and cause the world to collapse, I guess. He pulls a gun to kill the protagonist at the end. And right as he's pulling the gun, the body gets up in front of the bullet.
Takes the bullet.
Yeah. Oh, God.
We should just start calling him John. I'm tired of saying the protagonist.
Me too. He's John. I don't know why they just call him John. But yeah.
But it's really sad because at the end of the movie, John like the three of like it's so hard to say. So Neil in present form has saved John and Tom Hardy.
But he hasn't actually done it yet.
He hasn't done it yet? With the Jeep?
No, he's going to go back and do it still. Wait, no. Okay, so he saved them with the Jeep by pulling them out.
Yes.
But he has not taken the bullet for them yet.
He has not taken the bullet for him yet because that's what he does at the very end. He's like,
he carries them so much that he saves them multiple times.
Yeah. And then you also find out that John hired Neil in the first place, and that this whole operation was a giant temporal pincer move spanning like an entire lifetime. It's crazy though. Like, it's mind-boggling.
Yeah,
we shouldn't really.
John is the one who founds Tenet, right?
Yeah.
Oh baby, it's so freaking good.
Yeah, Tenet has not been founded, but it will be founded in the future, is what Priya says. And like John's like, we've been working for me the whole time.
Yes, I love that line. We've been working for me the whole time. There's some lines in this that just come across so stupid. Like that. Like, I had it written down, but I don't think I have it written down anymore. Because it was so funny. Let me look. Let me see. Save the world and we'll balance the books. That was a good line.
Yeah, it was really good. Michael Caine. That was a more
I'm the protagonist.
I'm sorry.
That was wonderful, Michael Caine. Okay, here we go. Priya says, whose job was it? And he says, mine. I realized I wasn't working for you. We've both been working for me. I'm the protagonist. We've both been working for me the whole time. Mission accomplished. Shoots her in the head. What a film.
What a film. What a film. Script.
I guess none of this even has to do with Neil. But sorry, continue. Finish explaining Neil's sacrifice, I suppose.
Sorry, one more second. One more line. Easy, fella. Where I'm from, you buy me dinner first.
Yay. He's a good dude, man.
What was I was basically done once I said that it was a giant temporal pincer move.
It's a pincer within a pincer within a pincer.
That's right.
Gosh,
it's really sad because, like, now John is going to go forward in time to meet Neil at some point, knowing when he's going to die.
Yeah, and he can't tell him.
That's really messed up. And it's weird because, it means they're just in, like, a loop, right?
What's happened happens.
I guess so.
Because I don't think it's really a loop. Like,
it's not like Returnal, is it?
It's nothing like Returnal.
They have to keep saving the world over and over again, right?
No, I think Neil grows up, gets to that age, meets his father when he was young, and dies. Well, not his actual father, but his pseudo-father. I don't even know if him and Emily DeBecky actually have a thing. Like, I don't know if the protagonist and
they
Kat,
kind of had.
I feel like they kind of do.
Yeah, it's more like a wink and a nod, more type of thing, you know.
Yeah, it's like
kind of like there's a few lines, not even between them, but between other characters.
Yeah, where it's like, they look comfortable.
Because Sator's like, have you slept with my wife yet? And he's like, not yet.
Not yet, Kenneth.
I love that line. Or that monologue that Sator goes through. That's his name, right, Sator?
Yeah, Sator. With the slitting his throat.
Yeah, it's like, I'll slit your throat, but not crossways. Vertical, like a hole, and put your balls in it.
I love John David Washington. Oh my God, I can't keep calling this. I love John's reaction to, like, you're still going. All right.
Yeah.
How horrifying would that be?
It's too much work.
It is definitely too much work. I also think I would
4 or 5 guys just to hold them down.
Yes, it would definitely take a lot of work to hold me down.
2 other people
want that
to
to happen
do
to
the
me.
cutting.
Oh my gosh,
it's a big operation.
Hey,
but yeah,
that'd be horrendous. Speaking of Kenneth, I think it's time to move on to Kenneth, man. Perfect segue. How do you think of him as a villain? I mean, Neil, I think we love Neil. I think he was a great character. I think people who
he should have been the protagonist.
He should have been the protagonist. We both agree. But
if they ever, no, I'll save it.
Sequel. Bad. Way too early. Tell me about Kenneth. What are your thoughts on the Ken Man?
He's not very scary.
You said that before.
Huh?
I said I remember you said that last time.
Yeah, he's like in like other movies, his character is more akin to the wife beater that the main character beats up to save the girl. He's not really the big bad villain.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like he's an awful person and you hate him. So he's really good in that way, like, because you can't stand him.
Mm-hmm.
He's a disgusting pig of a man.
Yes.
And you want to see him get beat up, you know?
Yeah.
but he's not a very menacing villain. And his plan is stupid. I'm going to end all existence because I can't have my lady. If I die, no one can. Like, if I can't have her, no one can.
Yeah.
It seems really amateurish.
That's interesting.
He just comes off as kind of stupid.
That's interesting. I'm happy you see it this way. I think this is something we disagreed on last time too.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a really great villain. But I think that it goes for both of us that regardless of how good of a villain he is, Kenneth Branagh did a great job. But
no, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not saying the actor did a bad job. His acting was great. He was a guy like he's scary on a smaller level. Of like, I wouldn't want to be in a room with him alone, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's the last thing I want.
The very last.
But he, like, just his idea is like, if I die, everything ends. And I don't know if it restarts.
I think it just resets.
Okay.
It just doesn't seem, things would eventually
seem very
restart.
Thought out.
That's the thing is, I think it's like really well thought out because he doesn't want to have an out. He just like, it's just like you said, like if I can't have it, nobody can.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like who he is, you know, that he just feels, because he has a heart condition. He's going to die. Like that's his whole thing, right? He was like diagnosed with some sort of cancer and
pancreatic.
Yeah. And I think he's just bitter that like right as he's finally coming into, after all of his hard work, it's his hard work that killed him, right? Because it was getting all the plutonium. That's what gave him the cancer.
Yeah.
And it's like after doing everything he did to finally find happiness and success, it ended up killing him. And I think he's just so bitter that he's like, well, if I don't get to have it, if the world refuses to give me what I deserve, then I'm not going to let anyone else have it either. I don't think it's a good thing. But I don't know. I don't think there's often a great reason to be a villain.
Put it in a way where it's like, yeah, that's a really good idea. But I don't know if... Like, there's a lot of pieces in that I really love. And I think would be amazing in other circumstances. But I don't know if... I think the stakes are too high for his reasoning. Like, I think he is being very hyperbolic about
it. He's a little over the top. I agree, and I don't see why anyone would follow him.
A semi-overweight Russian dude who lives on a yacht. You know, it's just something there for me at least doesn't connect well. But I love the idea of a guy who is being killed by his work. Basically, like he amassed all these riches, but that's his downfall at the same time. Yeah, it's kind of like a King Midas.
King Midas over here.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't know, because part of me agrees with you, but I think part of the appeal of him for me is his like his appearance, where he's just like this chubby dude lounging with some slides, you know, on his yacht. And I think it's that ultimately he's just a guy. Ultimately he's just weak, and like he wouldn't have the power he has if like the future didn't give it to him, right? He's just a lackey. Like he is not actually the boss. He's just the guy that the future got in touch with. But I don't know. I think you're right that it's just...
I mean, I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. Because, like, in other circumstance, I don't know why, but I love just the bad guy being a normal guy who thinks that his intentions are the right ones and the righteous ones. Yeah. And because Sator believes that the future is talking to him and he's doing the right thing to save that generation. Yeah. Even though him and his son can't enjoy what he does, someone will.
Yeah.
You know.
He's doing it for the greater good. Or at least he's convinced himself.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I do really like him. It's just...
But I understand what you're saying, though.
I'm conflicted about him for sure. Because
he's not, like, scary. But he is. I don't know how to describe it. He's just,
No.
he's a good character. Very
Yeah.
well executed,
Yes.
but definitely weird.
I will agree with you on that.
Certainly a terrifying man. I would not want to be
Yes.
anywhere near him ever.
Can you give me
Get
the
out of
one
my
more time?
life, Kenneth. Yay! Go to sleep listening to that. Chris, for the song for this, I want you to sample that with some of the songs from the movie.
Okay.
It's gonna be beautiful. Just replace the bass with my yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna do it. You
gonna be
inspired
beautiful.
me.
I will. I'm so excited for this. Speaking of the music in this, by the way,
Yeah.
a lot of the music, especially whenever, ironically, Kenneth Branagh is on screen, he has like a little, like a calling card musically. Every character does.
Yes.
And his has, it's a little scary, a little spooky because he's a bad guy. And parts of it are composed with Christopher Nolan breathing loudly into the microphone that the composer then later like reworked to be disturbing music.
Interesting. That's cool.
Which is hilarious. I don't know how that conversation went down.
Yeah.
Or like how the idea was birthed. I don't know. Hey, Chris.
Maybe Christopher had just a very specific way that he wanted the breathing to be done.
Oh, he seems like a hands-on kind of guy.
Maybe he was doing the thing where they were holding their breath. So he's like, which that was an
I don't know what he
awesome
was doing.
scene. That was such a great
Dude.
tense scene.
I know. Oh, when the pick breaks, it's so good. Right before that, he's like, yoga. It's so funny. It's a great movie. So they're in there with the guy who's explaining the museum to them, or he's showing them around, and then the protagonist starts being like,
Oh yeah.
and then he walks away, and he's like, "Is he okay?" He's like, "Yoga." It's just like,
Yeah, I remember that.
gosh, man.
So many good lines. So many good one-liners.
I agree. Yeah,
Where
I
do we
don't
go
know
from-
if this.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. I was gonna say something similar to you. It's like, but like I don't know where that leaves us. It's just this movie is so much, yet at the same point, it is so little. I don't know if that makes sense. It's like so bombastic, so huge, so big, and at the end of the day, I think it kind of misses out on the characters. They're like cool archetypes. I like Neil, but like, what do we actually know about Neil? Everything's conjecture, essentially. Like most of the depth that comes to his character comes from us thinking that he's Kat's son.
Yes.
Man, I just don't know. I think I'm too kind to this movie. I really like this movie, but maybe it doesn't need to have great characters. Maybe it can just be this big thing because it's bigger than one person. It's bigger than an individual, right? That's the whole point of the movie, is that it's huge. But heck, I don't know. Does what I'm saying make any sense at all?
No, I totally get it. And I think a few of his movies suffer from that too. I think Inception has way too many characters in it. Look at the cover of the movie. There's like 30 people there.
Yes. Yeah.
Interstellar is great because you focus basically on one character. Maybe three like you probably only focus on 2 to 3 characters in any given half of the movie.
Yeah.
Like it changes, but
Did you say Inception earlier?
I said Interstellar.
But I mean,
Oh
when
yeah,
you said how many
earlier I
people on
did
the
say
cover.
Inception.
Okay, sorry. I thought you said Interstellar, and I was like thinking, I
There's
thought
one
it was just
person.
Matthew McConaughey.
No, there's
Anyway.
like 30 Murphs, all in different ages.
In different dimensions.
But yeah, I think but I think there really isn't that many characters, so I think it is just a problem with the script, with the writing.
But is it a problem? Or is that just what this movie is?
I don't know.
I think that's why it's hard to talk about this movie for me sometimes, right? It's just because I love it, but I don't know, like, does it need to be different, or can it just be this? And is that just what this is?
Do you think when the entropy scientist lady says, don't try to understand it. Do you think that was Christopher's way of trying to ease the audience to kind of just turn off their brains? It's a movie. It's not Interstellar. There's no like real science behind this. Do you think he was trying to ease us from that and like take that burden off our shoulders?
Take it from me, Nolan.
I don't want to understand.
It's too much. Oh my gosh. I think yes in part. But then if you watch the special features, he's convinced that this is real science. Like, okay. That's what I'm like baffled, I think, the other thing. Like, I think he's not really convinced. You're like, every law of gravity can be run forward and backwards, which is true. Like, we can understand it to the point where we can see it from both perspectives. Mm-hmm. He's like, entropy is the only thing, right? The law of entropy is the idea that everything eventually comes apart, right? Is that we're always heading towards annihilation, which is true. That's how existence works in the physical realm. Mm-hmm. But anyways, but yeah, I think you're right. I think I remember hearing that and immediately being like, oh, okay. So that's what this is going to be like, Yeah. And I think he had to, though. I think that unless you watch this movie several times, it's really hard to really get what's going on. Mm-hmm. Like my dad, I told him to watch this movie after we did our episode on it. And he called me a couple days later and was like, Josh, that movie was awful. So my dad hates movies that like don't make a lot of sense. Yes. Right? Like he wants things to really fall in line. And this movie does not do that. No, unless you watch it several times. No hold-handing at all. No hand-holding.
It doesn't ever explain why John has to do so many pull-ups.
No, nothing can ever explain that, Chris, from so high. Oh, I love that shot with the boat.
Dude, the boat scene where like you're like, oh, that's just a boat. You're like, wait, is that John?
Is that an ant doing pull-ups? Oh my gosh.
Dude, I love it in the beginning of the movie how he climbs up to the very top of the ladder just to do the pull-ups.
I know, right?
Is it like pull-ups or death? It's like if you don't do these, you fall and die. Was that his thought process?
Dude, it's either that or he was just climbing the ladder and suddenly felt the urge to do pull-ups.
Like, I gotta work out before these guys show up. I gotta look swole.
I gotta get a pump on.
There might be some pretty girls on that boat.
That's right. There's gonna be a pretty Neil at the very least, and a 7-foot tall woman. The skin of a 90-year-old woman. She's like, how tall is she? I know she's like 6'3" or 6
She's shorter than Sater, and Sater can't be taller than like.
She's not shorter than Sater.
What?
Sater is like a foot shorter than her. Kenneth Branagh's not a tall dude.
You're right.
Let me look this up.
There's not many scenes where they're standing next to each other. She's always sitting and he's standing.
For a reason.
Yeah.
Let me look up Kenneth Branagh's height. But I know that she stands next to the protagonist, and he's definitely shorter than her.
Yeah.
Okay, let me look at this. Branagh height. He's 5'10", so he's not even short. And she's like way taller than him. All right, let me look this up.
Yeah, but she's not 7 feet tall.
She's like 7'6". All right, Emily DeBecky height. 6'3".
Okay.
To me, that's like 7'1". You're pathetic.
I am pathetic.
Plus, she wears like 6-inch heels the entire movie. She just towers over everyone, man.
Forget about it.
Forget about it.
Should we talk about her?
Yeah, let's talk about Kat.
I think she's a interesting character.
I think she's great.
I like how so the whole backstory with her is that she sold a fake piece of art to Sater for like $9 million, and he knew that it was fake, right? Or like he found out that it was fake.
I believe so. Yeah.
But he then used that as blackmail to be like, either I like send you to the police and you never see your son again, or do they have a romantic thing first and then he pulls the blackmail to keep her?
That's what it was. Because I think they were already married when he buys the art.
Oh, Why would he buy the art from his wife?
I don't know. I think the art was still... I don't think she owned it.
It was a repo.
Yeah, well...
A repo sold it.
She doesn't own the art. She just verifies that it's real. She's like a middleman.
But then she said that it was real, knowing that it was fake for a repo.
I think she was deceived, and she thought it was real.
Oh. Then why blackmail her and not the other guy?
Because she is connected to his son.
Okay. A repo is?
No. Okay, so Kenneth Branagh is blackmailing Emily DeBecky to stay with him and to love him, essentially. Because if he exposes her, then she will go to jail and never see her son again.
Exposure of what?
For fraud. For pretty much promising him that this work of art was actually by Goya when it was really a forgery. It's worth nothing.
But why would she do that?
I think she did it on accident.
Oh.
I think she was fooled. Because when she talks to John David Washington in the beginning, it's implied that she was simply...
Didn't intend to do it and stuff?
Yeah, it was an accident, which he found out about after the fact. And when he did, he he made a repo a vegetable, and then he, blackmailed her to make her stay with him.
Yeah. Okay. And Kat and the repo were having an affair? Was that
It's implied? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, this movie says nothing. So, all of that stuff is said in, 5 minutes. And, in less words. And I think that's one of the reasons this movie is so complicated and, hard to understand. It's not that the concepts are hard to understand. It's just that, plots of entire movies occur in 5-minute sentences, right? That is an entire movie. And then in this, it's just yeah, that happened. And we're going to explain it over dinner. And we're not even going to really be like that. You know? But anyways, that's how she fits into the story.
Yes. And she takes a selfish approach to the finale where she jumps the gun and kills Kenneth.
Yes.
A little too early. But I like how she did it though. She was dumping the sunscreen on the yacht and was just seducing him into a back massage and stuff. So that was fun to watch because you knew it was going to happen.
Yes. I love watching Kenneth get sun lotion all over him. She applies a copious amount.
Yeah, she the whole bottle on his back.
She unscrews the cap, gets a spoon. It's a
Basically.
lot of sun
If
lotion.
I was Kenneth, I would be like, "What are you doing?"
For real though, it's she just turned it a jar of mayonnaise up over on his back. It's so
maybe
much.
he's never had this before, so he wasn't none the wiser,
He'd never experienced a sunscreening. Of course.
Yes.
It's because they fell out of love. No more sunscreen bathing. But I agree with you. I think it's it's fun to watch in the idea that it's hard to watch because you're ugh, he's so slimy and horrible, but it's also you're gonna die.
Yeah.
Apparently by drowning in sunscreen, but.
And I love how he takes so much satisfaction from being today is going to be the end of the world or something like that. He keeps saying the same thing over and over again. What would you do if today was your last day on Earth?
Are you alluding to something here, honey?
And she's playing coy, oh, what are you talking about? You're being silly.
You silly duck.
You silly guy. You silly, slimy guy.
Slime man.
But I think that's all the characters we need to talk about.
Yeah, and I don't think there's really anything else to say about her.
I guess, what's his name? Mahir. He's the guy who was in Yesterday.
The plane
he was
guy.
famous for. I thought he had a couple funny lines, and he's another like attractive looking guy on screen.
Looks great, man. Killed to
They're
be
all
him.
dressed like very nicely. He has like an orange bomber jacket, and it's quite nice.
Looks fabulous.
And he brings like the security guard on the plane over. He's like, I know you guys wanted meat, but I think this is vegetarian. And then he drugs him.
Oh, it's good. He's a funny guy. And the line about, like, what happens if they catch you? He's like, they're not going to catch me. He's like, but hypothetically, if they catch you, what's going to happen? He's like, well, they'll think I'm a terrorist. Just like, I think he's a funny guy.
Yeah.
Maybe
he was a little underused.
I don't know.
He was just the perfect amount.
Just right. If they used him anymore, it would feel like that one guy in Ant-Man.
I've never seen Ant-Man.
Oh, I forgot. You don't watch plebeian movies like I do. I like Luis, actually, though. I like him in Ant-Man, but he's a little bit much sometimes. He's just comedic relief. Anyways.
I hate that.
I hate comedic relief. My favorite movie is There Will Be Blood.
Relief, what is that?
I only watch the scenes where the oil derricks break and fall on people. I watch them for 2.5 hours at a time. And I coat myself in oil.
That's right. That's what I do every weekend.
Every weekend. Oh, gosh.
A milkshake. I slurp it up.
I know.
Have you seen the end of that movie yet?
I haven't gotten to the end. I've watched the first hour.
Okay.
What a disturbing film. I like it though. I like it.
That's right. You do like that movie. You do like it.
Yes, Dad. I'm terrified. I'll drink my whiskey milk in silence.
But since that's all the characters, should we just? There are like a few scenes you want to talk about. Like, what's your favorite scene?
Yeah. What's your favorite scene? Let's start with you.
I don't know.
Okay, I'll go first. But I mean,
I have a lot of favorite scenes.
Yeah, there's just a lot of great things that happen in this movie, and the imagery is just so awesome. I do have my fast facts before my fast ones, if you want me to go through those, while you're thinking about what your favorite scene is.
Okay.
All right, here we go. A lot of these you probably already know, or people have already heard, just because this movie I feel like it was pretty big for a while. Although, I don't think it did as well as people wanted it to.
Yeah, people complained about it a lot.
Babies.
Hurt their brains.
It's too hard to understand. I understand.
No, you're right.
I would have complained.
I don't think people are hot on it as much as they were with Interstellar and the Dark Knight trilogy, but I don't think
Inception.
Dunkirk was super well received either. And I really liked Dunkirk.
You did?
Yeah, I saw it in theaters with my dad, and I thought it was awesome.
I need to see it still. Well, I'm excited for that one.
Wait too long.
Yes, hopefully we'll have another one of these up. But I know people were hoping this would like save movie theaters, because this came out at the beginning of the pandemic, and everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, Tenet, Christopher Nolan, he's gonna save." Like physical cinemas as we know them, and then this movie just kind of flopped. And I'm sure it made its money back, but it didn't do nearly as well as they wanted it to. Mm-hmm. Which is a little bit lame.
Yeah, because other movies were like phenomenons, Mm-hmm. Like, I already said Interstellar and The Dark Knight. I mean, those are like culture phenomenons,
Everyone watched them. Everyone's
talking about it. Everyone loves them.
I remember being in like 6th grade and everyone talking about Inception. Like, what? That's so weird, Like, it's bizarre. Like, that makes sense if it's like Batman or like the Avengers,
Mm-hmm.
some property that's made for children. But like Inception, like it's a movie about a freaking like brain like dream heist. Why are these 12-year-olds talking about it in school? So it was a cultural phenomenon. I think you're right. Very bizarre. And so this movie just didn't really live up to that. It did in my heart, but I don't think it did in the general public. So a lot of people haven't seen this movie. All of that just to say that I hope some of these are new to you guys. I hope all of you guys haven't just heard all of these before. But the first thing, which I thought was super cool, is the Sator Square. Have you ever heard of a Sator Square, Chris?
No.
Perfect. You actually have, but you
Yeah,
may
I'm
not
a
remember. You liar.
I do remember.
Yo, well, they don't. Shut up so the audience can have a good time for once, Chris. But a Sator Square is a word square, which is, I never mind, I can't speak. It's a word square that it has 5 words, and it's a palindrome. A palindrome is a word that is the same one way and then the same all the way back across the other way.
Yes.
Anyways, they figured out this 5x5 square, which had 5-letter words written in 5 lines, and it would play every direction, no matter how you looked at it, no matter how you turned the square, all those words would always be visible. And the words are these: Satyr, Arepo, Tenet, Opera, and Rotas. And then it says, in every direction the square is rotated, these 5 words appear, both horizontally and vertically, a property that fits the time inversion feature of the film. It's also notable that all 5 words appear in the film. Kenneth Branagh's character, Satyr, Kat's lover, Arepo, Tenet, the organization which the protagonist founds after the events of the movie, Opera, where the movie begins, and Rotas, the security company which creates... or do they create the inverters, or do they just house the inverter in Oslo? I suppose it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Is Tenet John's name?
Maybe it is. I don't know why it would be. What a weird name.
Well, because like you have Satyr, Arepo, all the other names.
I guess, yeah, 3 of those are names. And then Opera, I think they just threw in.
Because of the beginning of the movie.
Yeah. Maybe his name's Tenet. Or maybe he just chose it because it's like the same backwards and forwards. Yeah. I don't know.
But go on.
But pretty wild, man. Insane. And this is something that I learned a lot more about in the special edition or whatever. The behind the scenes. And it was about how they learned their lines in reverse. And it goes way beyond just learning to say things backwards. So, and specifically the person that had to do it most was Kenneth Branagh. So not only did he have to say things backwards, he had to say them backwards in a Russian accent.
It's crazy.
I know. Just like, why? Why did they do this? It's insane. But it wasn't just words that they had to do backwards. They did everything backwards. Almost any shot that has a backwards scene in it was shot multiple times. Once for the reverse and once for the forward. And I have a quote here that I took from the behind the scenes, which is hilarious. And it was Christopher Nolan's first interaction with the stunt coordinator. So the guy who was going to be choreographing or doing all the choreography for every fight, essentially. He said this: I want you to film a normal fight scene, reverse that film, have the guy who was being attacked watch it, and then do it perfectly backwards. Then have that guy get attacked while doing the fight scene backwards. Then reverse that film, and that's your fight scene. So that was what they did.
So much work.
So
I mean, that's
not only
genius. Honestly, that's awesome.
I know, and so it looks way more legit.
It really does. Like, it's almost hard to look at and hard to follow. But like during the fight scene between the 2 Johns in the hallway, gas mask John and normal John, you can tell that he's almost he's not attacking, but he's deflecting through his attacks. Yeah. The other John's attacks. It's so weird. Like he knows the movements of John because he's been in John's position. It's fascinating. It's
just crazy how well they did it. Like, it looks great. And there's a lot of other things they did backwards, including driving.
What?
They didn't do a lot of the driving reversed. Like, obviously the car flip, it's reversed. But most of the backwards driving, what they did is they took the drivetrain in a car and flipped it around so the car could go backwards as fast as a normal car can go forwards.
Oh my gosh.
And they just drove backwards.
That's awesome.
I know, it's insane. And speaking of driving, Robert Pattinson did much of his own driving, even the backwards driving.
Oh, wow.
He was deemed by the drive stunt coordinators to be like good enough just to do it on his own. He has some pretty crazy things he does in the movie.
Real Steve McQueen, a real Paul Newman there.
That's right. But yeah, he's Paul Newman. That's right, Chris. I know everything about what you're referencing. but he's insane. It's just the backwards. Like, the things they did are insane. I'm looking
More
for
reasons to love Robert Pattinson.
Oh,
he's really good at driving.
He's really good at driving, ladies. Now there's nothing holding you back.
He's Batman. He's good at driving. He's been a vampire.
You have no idea how ready I am for the Batman with Robert Pattinson. I'm so excited. So excited.
And Paul Dano is the Riddler.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, he's gonna be perfect now that I've seen There Will Be Blood. I'm like, oh, Paul Dano's insane. So Paul Dano's a terrifying dude.
Dude, I love him.
I'd rather be in an alley with Kenneth Branagh in sunscreen than with Paul Dano in anything else. Paul Dano is terrifying. I'm Eli. He's so scary.
Yeah, he is. He's a scary guy.
Oh my gosh. I just want to do one on There Will Be Blood now because I'm just thinking about the scene where he does the exorcism on her arthritis.
Yeah.
Sorry. Oh, it's so good. Anyways. I talked about the improvising, the line, I ordered my hot sauce an hour ago. He improvised that. He just said it. What a genius. Weird. The working title for the film was Merry-Go-Round.
It's a terrible name.
Right. Awful name. Bad Christopher.
No, good Christopher for going with Tenet.
Oh, I agree with that. But did you know that he's had the logo for Tenet for 6 years? And then when they put it on the first trailer, they were sued by a bike company immediately and had to change it to what it is now.
Wait, the merry-go-round?
Tenet. So I don't know why they were calling it merry-go-round when he literally had the name Tenet of the organization for 6 years, but... Whatever, Christopher.
So what did they have to do?
So he had a working logo for Tenet.
Oh.
And I don't remember if you heard about it, but there's a bike company called Tenet.
With the same logo?
Yeah, similar. So he had to change it around so that they could make it work.
Well, they just wrote it out.
I know. That's why I was confused. I think the E was backwards, maybe.
Oh, okay.
The second E.
If there was a sequel for this movie, the N would have been reversed for me. That would have been my idea.
I thought
flip the N over.
I have a really dumb idea. I thought it was going to be Tenet, and then the N was going to turn sideways like a 2.
Perfect.
It's even better. Oh my gosh.
Let me see what do they do? What does
I think
company do?
It had to literally just be a backwards E.
It is. That's all it is.
That's what I figured.
And then the N is more like a sideways Z. It's an infinity symbol. Pretty much.
I don't like that.
Here, let's see if you can see it.
Oh, that's kind of cool, actually. I don't hate that.
It's kind of cool.
Not good enough for Christopher, though.
Too good for Christopher, actually.
Too good, that's right. But they had to change it. Weird.
It's not that bad. It's not that big of a deal.
It's a huge deal, Chris. Ruined all of production.
I hope Christopher was in his bedroom, was like, oh, I got this brilliant idea. No one's ever thought about this. He has Tenet with a backwards E written all over his walls. His journals are just Tenet over and over again.
Oh my gosh. His wife is sick of hearing about it. Then he goes and immediately gets DMCA'd. This was my achievement.
He probably owns a Tenet bike. That's where he got it from.
Oh my gosh, this guy. We know what you're doing, Chris. You dummy. Speaking of tens, by the way, Tenet, net. There's another part where he likes to get punny with his tens. During the climactic battle scene, the red team and the blue team both have 10 minutes to complete the final mission. 110 forward and 110 backward make Tenet.
Oh wow, you're right.
He's very clever.
That's very clever.
What a conniving.
Sorry, I just saw a FedEx man go past my window and look inside.
Wow, what a lucky guy. He got to see Futon Talks in person.
Yeah. One of the few. Him and Joel Haver.
Joel Haver, you, me, and I guess Jarrett. Even though that's technically a Futon fight.
That was a Futon fight, yeah, exactly.
If you guys want to see us in person, you can pay us to come to your house and do a Futon Talks there.
Yeah.
That offer's on the table. Just have to fly us out.
It'll be at least $3,500.
But it's an experience that only 2 people have had. So
yep.
Or you can just become really cool and get on the show.
You have to host. You have to pick the topic.
Yes.
And you have to
pay my tuition. Yeah, that too.
And bathe us.
To pay our
and provide
our
a futon. If there's no futon there, we're not coming.
If there's no futon, there's no talks.
That's right.
Hey. Hope the bike company doesn't sue us for our name, Chris. Good thing our logo changes every week.
Yep.
They can't pin us down.
They can't get us.
They can't catch us on their bikes. But I've got one more little tidbit, and then I've just got fast ones. If you want to,
that sounds great to me, honestly.
All right, well, good. I hate this. I saved the juiciest one for last. Throughout the film, the color red is used to indicate time going forward, and blue is used to indicate a time inversion. This is a reference to the Doppler effect, by which bodies of light traveling away from the Earth appear red as the light waves are stretched outwards, and bodies of light traveling towards the Earth appear blue as light waves are compressed together. So cool.
Yes.
So cool.
Very cool. A lot of thought and care went behind this movie. Well, and that's where I think it really shines. Like, I could forget that the characters were maybe a little lackluster or that the audio was abysmal. But I could tell that a lot of thought was put into it and a lot of passion. And I think that's where, like, I mean, you can say that about any filmmaker, really. I think every filmmaker is somewhat passionate about their movies, even if they don't like them in the end or in hindsight. But you can always tell that Christopher puts a ton of care into every movie that he makes, whether they're good or not. Because I'll figure it out when we get to Inception, but when I first saw it, I didn't really like it. But there was Inception. A lot of attention to detail. Even though...
Also you are the biggest hipster to ever live.
Me?
And the fact that you don't know it makes you even more of a hipster.
What are you talking about?
It's too popular for you, man. Inception's too popular for you to like Inception. It was too mainstream.
But I love the Dark Knight trilogy, which is far more popular than Inception.
Oh, I don't know.
You don't know?
The people that like the Dark Knight are less weird about it.
You think Inception is more popular than Batman?
I think Inception was popular in a different way. I think in a way that repelled you and your instincts.
Maybe it was, you know,
but I don't know.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
You don't like Leo?
And Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
You don't like Joseph Gordon-Levitt?
And
you love Tom Hardy.
Honestly, I forgot that Tom Hardy was in it until you brought it up. Because that Tom Hardy is a very different Tom Hardy that I know. That was pre-Dark Knight.
Pre-Mad Max.
Pre-Mad Max. That was pre-Lawless.
Revenant.
I mean, so.
Also with Leonardo DiCaprio, though, you like that.
Yeah.
He's in a
But
bear.
I didn't really care for Shutter Island either, which was like in the same time period.
Interesting. I kind of like Shutter Island. I haven't seen it since I was like 13, though.
Yeah, same.
So... What about do you hate The Great Gatsby? Granted, everyone who's read the book doesn't actually like that movie very much. I kind of like it, though. I think it's stylish.
I like Tobey Maguire.
I freaking love Tobey Maguire.
Anything with Tobey's in it is at least a C tier for me.
That's true. What a stupid question for me to ask.
Yeah,
what's the point? Tobey Maguire's in it. Who needs to say anything?
I forgot that Leo was actually in that movie, to be honest with you.
He's only the main character. But I guess Nick Carraway is technically the main character, but he's the title. He's Jay, baby. He's the Gatsby.
Right. I like the book, though.
Yeah?
The book was good.
It's good.
Yeah. I read it when I was 12.
right after you finished reading
Animal Farm and
Animal Farm.
too. After I got finished with Catcher in the Rye and
East of Eden, perhaps. Maybe the Napoleonic Code.
Atlas Shrugged.
Atlas Shrugged. That's right. Oh my gosh.
Big Ayn Rand fan.
Yes. I thought you were just going to be talking about Tom Hanks's Big, but sadly, not today.
Not today, not ever.
Or
I don't ever
probably
watch
ever.
that movie ever again.
Although speaking of Tom Hanks, I watched Toy Story the other day for the first time in probably a decade.
I don't know if I've ever finished a Toy Story movie.
What?
And I don't think I've ever seen past the first one.
I personally think
might have
Toy
seen
Story
the
2
second
is
one.
better.
2?
I love Toy Story 2. That's my favorite one.
I might have seen parts. Is that the one where that's where the female cowboy toy
Yes.
shows up, right?
The female. Yeah, the female shows up.
She's not in the first one, right?
No, she's not. Yeah, the
Okay.
horse and her. I actually don't know her name either, so I'm just as bad as you. And Zurg is there. That's Darth Vader, essentially.
Yeah, Darth Vader. So I've seen... Because the first one... Wait, no, because the first movie is with her dad, and she...
What? No. What are you talking
like
about?
the big gnome
What?
toy.
Are you talking about Romeo and Juliet? What is this? No, dude, it's okay, so Woody is the favorite toy of Andy. Andy gets a new toy and it's Buzz. And that's pretty much it. And then they get trapped at Sid's house. And then
But isn't there like a scene on like a conveyor belt or something where like the female cowboy's dad...
You're hallucinating.
I'm not. And he's like a serial killer toy, right?
Oh my gosh, dude.
And he tries to kill Woody.
I feel like that's got to be number 2.
So then...
But I don't remember that.
The Zurg is in the first one then.
No, Zurg's in the second one. So here's the thing. There's like a collector that like paints their feet.
Yes.
I remember that. He paints over Andy.
Yeah, and people love
you
that
talking
scene
about
for
him?
some reason.
Yeah, it's very satisfying. Also disturbing.
I guess.
I always feel like he's a sexual predator.
Yeah.
Like I get that vibe, you know?
For sure.
I think that's what they were going for. Horrifying scene. Anyway.
Like, is he
that
trying
what-
to
are you
fix
talking
these
about him?
toys to lure kids?
I think he's just a collector. I don't know why it's so disturbing because I think he's literally just a guy who collects toys. But like when you watch it, you're like, this guy is a bad man, you know? But yeah, man, I don't... What are we talking about? Toy
Stinky
Story went
Pete.
out? What happened?
Stinky Pete. Toy Story 2.
Oh my gosh, you're right, Stinky Pete. Yeah, her evil
Emperor
dad.
Zurg was in the... Just says Toy Story franchise. He's Buzz
like...
Lightyear's like arch nemesis.
Yeah. He's in the first scene. I don't think he... No, he's in the end too, because they become friends on the tarmac.
Then you get Sid Phillips and lots of Huggin' Bear, which I don't even want to know what that is.
Oh, are these the villains?
That's like a Bill Cosby reference for sure. That's terrible.
Wow. Yeah, Toy Story always had lots of references.
So yeah, Stinky Pete.
Stinky Pete. That's who we were talking about.
Yeah.
Man, maybe we should do it on Toy Story 2. I don't really want to watch Toy Story again, but...
I'll be fine with doing one movie.
Let's do...
They're not really connected, are they? It's just the boy grows up, and then at the end he like gives the toys to his kids.
Whoa, big spoiler alert for the Toy
I made
Story
that up. I
franchise,
don't
which
even know.
began in 20 years ago. I have no idea. I've actually never seen 3 or 4. Is there a 4th one? I feel like there's a 4th one.
Yeah, it's the one with
fork.
lots of Huggin' Bear, I think.
I think that's the 3rd one. Because they get lost in a daycare.
There is a 4th one. Oh, isn't it that
And there's
I
like
remember seeing
another
the
one
trailers. It's like the fork
Yes.
that's like autistic.
Yeah.
It's
Yes,
like the
you're
fork
right.
that's like challenged physically.
Yeah.
And Woody like tries to
he's-
help him, but he turns out to be evil or something.
I feel like you're thinking about the 3rd one again. You're meshing these movies together. I'm looking at fork voice actor.
Or is Toy Story 4 being made right now?
There's another one. There's
What
another
is
one where
Tom
they're in
Hanks
a
trying to
carnival.
do, honestly? What is Tom Hanks doing? Doesn't he have
Tom
enough money right now?
Right?
Why is he...
Nah, dude.
He's trying to buy his way into heaven. It's like Spielberg.
That's right. Also, we were deceived. Super 8 is by J.J. Abrams.
Oh, you're right. It's a
We're
love
all
letter to
liars.
Spielberg.
Exactly. So
Was it
I read
produced
that
by
the other
Spielberg?
day.
Was it produced by Spielberg?
Heck, I don't know. I
Every
know
time
for
you
a
look
fact
up
that Abrams
Spielberg,
directed it.
You see Super 8. Because it's based off of his like childhood, besides the whole train thing and the alien invasion.
The alien. Oh gosh, we got so off topic. By the way,
Yeah, what is this episode?
I believe it's about Dunkirk. I looked up Super 8 and it's just a bunch of motels. I'm not doing this right
it's
now.
a bunch of motels in Chico. Yeah,
But I don't
produced
know.
by J.J., Brian Burke, and Steven Spielberg.
The bird got in there to produce.
Wow, the budget was $50 million, and they got
Really?
$260 million from it.
They only got 60?
260.
Oh, there we go. I liked Super 8. I liked Super 8 a lot.
Yeah, me too. I think
I'd like
the
to watch it
ending
again.
Was really bad, but
You didn't like the ending?
I honestly don't remember too much of the ending. I just remember it being too much. There's like a spoiler alert for all of these movies, but spoiler alert for 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Yeah.
I think that movie is phenomenal up until the point where she makes a Molotov and throws it into the alien's mouth, because it's just a little too far for what the movie is, for like what the rest of the movie is, you know.
I thought 10 Cloverfield Lane didn't even show you. I thought it was just in a bunker.
No, she
I've never
gets
seen
out.
it. I've never seen it.
She gets out and like she fights an alien.
What?
And she makes a Molotov cocktail and throws it into its mouth.
Dang. I need to watch this
And like
movie.
she just turns from like scared lady running from a pedophile to making a Molotov and killing aliens. Like seriously in like 2 seconds.
I think that's weird, but if you think about it, that's like every horror movie with a protagonist. Like, think about Alien. She's like terrified, and then she's like, "Let me jump in this mech."
Yeah, but she's also like, well, that's Aliens.
No, that's Alien. It ends with she launches it out the cargo bay.
So
in
she's
her
being
mech
smart.
suit.
And she,
But yeah, but
like,
she's in a mech suit.
She's not in a mech suit in the first.
It's
one.
Am I combining them in my head?
I think you are, because the mech suit is in Aliens, where she's like in a giant Titanfall mech suit.
I thought she just used the flamethrower in the second one. Well,
She does
apparently
launch
we
it-
need to watch Aliens.
Yeah, we.
We don't remember that. It's been
There's
years
too many.
since I
We're
saw
making
Aliens.
too many episodes. You need to slow down.
Apparently we're fools. We should just stick to Tenet, apparently.
Yeah. Where were we? Oh,
we
your
were-
facts. Your fast facts.
That's right. I gave
Were
you
you
my
done with
last
them, or you have
one,
more?
and now we're just on the end. We're just in the fast one.
On the precipice of this episode.
That's right. Do you want me to give you my fast ones, or do you have fast ones for me?
I got some. I got like 4 or 5 fast ones for you. They're really fast.
Ooh, blazing
Like.
quick. I like them.
Yeah. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Should there be more Nolan posse or less?
Like, in this movie, should there be more of the Nolan
No,
posse?
like should he keep going back to the well, or should he start reaching out to more people and having less of his comfort zone, I'd say.
I like it right where it is. I think he reached out a lot this time.
I think
Well, he
so
still
too.
had a couple of the posse.
Yeah.
He's in a good
Like,
spot.
I don't want him to change his behind the scenes group of people, because I think they understand Nolan's vision and they accomplish it, obviously.
Yeah.
But no, having Michael Caine in every movie, I think, is good. I like seeing Michael Caine. I don't know how many more years we have of Michael Caine, so the more of him, the better.
Yeah.
He was looking a little rough in this movie.
Yeah, and that
To be
was like
honest.
2 years ago probably when it filmed.
Yeah.
Or 3.
So hopefully Nolan's on his next movie, and he's got Michael Caine in every scene.
Just got him in his wheelchair. He's just putting him on set.
Yeah, I like his little group. I like how he reached out to Robert Pattinson and John David, and pretty much every character besides Michael Caine.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of returning cast in this.
I don't think there is.
Which is
there's just
weird
the
for
Tom
him.
Hardy lookalike.
Yeah, it's just fake Tom Hardy.
Tom Softy.
Gosh. Maybe
know.
people in Scotland call Tom Hardy a this guy lookalike. I don't know why I think this guy is Scottish. I'm just convinced.
It is odd that you just go straight to Scottish.
He's Scottish, man.
Because what if he's like really big in Ukraine? I don't know.
Maybe he's a
In the Czech
Ukrainian
Republic.
actor. He's a Czech actor, perhaps. He's Scottish.
How many pull-ups can the protagonist do?
Unlimited, bro.
Unlimited.
He can't stop. That's the truth.
Does he do them backwards on the boat?
Would they be easier backwards?
Would they be?
They'd be hard for me no matter what. I haven't done a pull-up
Yep.
in years.
I try to do one at least a week. Every week, just do one.
Yeah, start the week off right, with some fitness.
And then I get sore for the rest of the week. And I go to bed.
yeah. Dude, we've been trying to get fit, Grace and I.
Yeah.
And we've been running a lot, and I've
What's
been
that?
doing. I know, right? But I did some push-ups like 2 weeks ago, and I'm like still sore.
After this podcast, I'm gonna get Popeyes.
This is the trick. You gotta hold or like tape the like drumstick to the ceiling, and you have to do the pull-up if you want some drumstick.
Drumstick? Are you kidding me? I'm getting the sandwich, bro.
Oh my gosh! So somehow you gotta tape that sandwich to the ceiling. Earn it, Chris. Earn it.
Maybe I'll have it like have everything separated and have a string going through all of them and be like a fishhook almost, Like see how high I can get up with the pull up.
Dang. If you don't get high enough, you never get to the chicken. You only get to the sauce.
Yeah, or the pickle.
Just the pickle. I thought you were going to say they were like all hung from separate strings.
Yeah.
So you had to like lift. Get it.
Yeah.
Like
I
one
guess,
by one.
Yes. That's a better idea. That's a much better idea.
We got to consult John David about this. He probably
who's the
did
guy
this.
with the P90X? We need to talk to that guy.
Freaking Tony. What's his name?
Dude, what's his name? We used to love him. You do
Tony
the crow.
Horton? Horton
Sounds
here's who?
right.
Tony Horton. What a guy.
Okay, last one. I thought I had more.
I have a couple, don't worry.
Would you rather be
Be
shot
there.
forward or backwards?
Forward.
Yeah. The scientist lady made the being shot backwards so much worse than the other one. I don't understand. Is it because wouldn't it be like just getting shot from behind?
Right? Like, I don't understand.
I don't understand how it's
Apparently,
different from a different, like a... Explain.
a bullet going in a normal direction.
Yeah.
I think it has to do with radiation. Because they said that an item gets inverted because it's filled with, like, freaking, I don't know, radiation or whatever.
Yeah.
Entropy.
Yes.
Don't try to understand.
Entropic radiation.
Entropic radiation. But the guy says, like, oh, she's got radiation poisoning. She'll die in 3 hours. And they're like, okay, well, let's just, put her in the machine that makes her way more radioactive. That'll fix the radiation. And then they do it, and then she's fine.
I mean, it does look pretty gnarly when she, like, reveals the scar at the end, which is a great scene.
Oh, so good.
But I don't know how much different it looked from, like, getting shot normally.
Chris
I guess
would
it
know.
must just be, like, the radiation poisoning.
I think it has to be. Otherwise, it's literally just getting shot, and it makes no sense why it would be any different. Christopher Nolan.
I would almost feel like the shrapnel would be going in backwards. There would be...
But it'd be like the same hole, because it's just backwards.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking, like, it would almost be better, because the bullet is getting pulled out of you, right? So there would be no reason to, like, dig for lead, because it's not in you, because it's going backwards.
Oh, interesting. So you would want to get shot backwards.
I'll get shot backwards.
You don't believe this lady. You thought, man, you weren't supposed to think about it too much.
You're right.
You're dead already, man. What does that guy say at the beginning? He's like, if you understand the war, you already know too much and you're already lost.
Yeah.
Like, you're that
guy could... He should have been thrown off that boat. He was like the typical, I'm going to just lay on some like story for you. Like, you know.
I know, just like, okay, you ready for the plot?
Yep, here it is.
Yeah, and I think that his lines especially just make no sense. Like, of all the lines in the movie, it's nothing he says makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
What did he say? Like, he says, oh my gosh. One of them, like the guy asks him, or John David asks him something like, is that all you know? Like, you don't know everything? And he's like, some people don't pass that test. What does that mean? Like,
yeah. I also like how they're giving CIA agents fake cyanide.
I know.
It's like, wow. But it made it out to be that he did die from the cyanide.
Right? But he didn't.
It wasn't fake.
It also doesn't make any sense because it was a legit operation.
Yeah.
All of his friends actually died. And then they were just like, it was a test. But like it wasn't because they all died.
Yeah.
I have no understanding.
Yes. But that's a great scene, honestly. When
the train scene.
When I watched the beginning of that movie, or of this movie, that's the scene where it's the most Nolan to me.
I could see that.
You know, it reminds me heavily of the scene in The Dark Knight Rises with the stock market exchange building.
It does.
And Bane goes in and like basically takes them all hostage.
Mm-hmm.
It reminded me a lot about that, especially since there's like a big guy wearing a big jacket walking around and he like just stomps on a cello and then like hits someone with the butt of his gun.
Very
unnecessary.
Yeah, it's kind of mean. Also, like, why are there people with entropic bullets there? Was the algorithm there?
No, that was Neil. Neil was there. He was the only one with entropic bullets.
I don't remember anything about this movie.
Because John was like, I saw this out in the field. And he thought, like, he didn't know if it was a good guy or a bad guy at the time. Mm-hmm. But then you find out later that it was Neil at the very end of the movie. Which, also, I read more of that theory, like, before we got on the podcast. With Neil being Max. So, the string and coin is supposed to be from his first vacation or first trip he took with his mom alone. And the coin is from Vietnam.
Hey.
Which is where they're at on the yacht and stuff.
That makes sense.
So it's just supposed to symbolize that. Which I thought was really cool. Like, that's another neat touch and perfect tie-in with that theory.
It ties it up very neatly.
I was going to say something else, but it's something stupid.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I love that theory, man. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
And I almost want that movie.
I almost want... It's like another one of those, like, Clone Wars things where I want a movie about the things that they talk about more than the one that I'm watching. Like, I want to see John David and Robert Pattinson in, like, a buddy cop type of movie where they're going on adventures together as friends instead of as strangers.
I would love to see a Tenet sequel. Like, we never will, and I'm okay with that. Mm-hmm. But, like, if there was going to be a Tenet sequel where they, like, meet and they, like, you know, work operations, it'd be cool. Mm-hmm. I'd be totally down.
It'd be a pretty cool show.
It'd be a great TV show.
It would be a great video game.
It would be a great art piece.
It'd be a great song.
It would be a great shoe.
But, like, I think it would, like, imagine Metal Gear, right?
Yes.
That style of, like, Metal Gear Solid 5. But where you can play the game out and then reverse it or something like I don't know. You know what I'm saying, though? Like
Braid.
You can manipulate time and stuff. I mean, there's
Yeah.
a bunch of games like that, but usually it's just like you can freeze time, and that's about it. But what if you could do the whole thing in reverse to play it out how you want it to be played out?
I love that.
If that makes sense. Probably makes just as little sense as the movie.
Yes, exactly the right amount. This would make a good video game, though.
Yeah.
It'll never happen.
No, of course not.
But tell me, Chris, if you would have to choose, which one would you choose? John David Washington or Robert Pattinson?
Robert Pattinson.
Sorry, John. Same here. I would sacrifice my blood for Robert, as he is a vampire. Now tell me, Chris.
I need to see more of John before I make a choice. Not physicality. I need to see more of his acting.
I need to see his belly button.
I need to see boxers.
What is he? Feet. What other movies? He's been in like the one Ku Klux Klan movie, I think.
Oh yeah, he was in that. I never saw that.
I never saw it. Klansman. That's yeah.
And then he was in another movie with Zendaya, which was like a black and white film on Netflix.
Oh, that's come out?
Yeah, I think it came out a while ago.
Really? I thought it was in production.
A while ago, meaning like maybe 2 months ago.
Oh, okay. I understand now. I need to watch that because I want to see more of him. He's just not as... He hasn't been in a whole lot, so...
Maybe he's one of those actors who like really picks and chooses his roles. And I respect that.
Well, I don't think he was really an actor till like 3 years ago, so...
I still respect it.
And then it's just kind of happened to him.
I respect him not trying to follow his dad's footsteps in the first place and then later coming into it.
I respect him climbing up 70 rungs on a ladder before doing any pull-ups.
I wonder if Christopher made him do that.
I think his dad made him do it.
You're not my son unless you climb this ladder and do 70 pull-ups.
The true son of Denzel would obviously easily do that.
Denzel was in another movie about time travel, kind of, with Deja Vu.
Oh, yeah.
Where he could,
like son.
See the future before it happens.
Like That's So Raven.
Do you
remember that show?
Yeah, of course.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It was like back when kid shows were good.
That's right.
I love That's So Raven and Corey in the House.
Dude, Corey in the freaking house. I love Drake and Josh.
Drake and Josh, yeah.
Yeah, I like Drake and Josh, do you?
I do.
Was it a little too popular?
I feel like it's one of those shows that I just watched because it was on. And I was probably waiting for something else. Like, I remember really liking it.
Sure you did.
But I think the Drake and Josh movie kind of ruined it for me.
I don't think I
remember liking the movie very much.
The TV movies are all just horrible except for the SpongeBob movie. That movie's awesome. Rock. Have you seen that movie?
What?
Have you never seen the SpongeBob movie?
Which
With
one?
David Hasselhoff?
Oh, yeah, of course I've seen that.
It's like there's a good one and there's all the other ones.
Yeah. It's the first one, right?
I think so. I think it was the first one they ever did, and it was like easily the best one.
Yeah. Just trying to think of like other shows that were during that time.
I can only think of stuff that came like right after. Like iCarly came right after Drake and Josh, and I didn't love that as much.
The first vlogger.
Yes, that's true.
They inspired the internet.
Gosh, man.
I weirdly ahead of its time. McGuire.
Hannah Montana.
I never watched Hannah Montana. I watched Sweet Life.
Sweet Life. Yeah, Sweet Life is Zack and Cody. Gosh, there's a weird thing back about these now.
Yeah. Oh, and Even Stevens, obviously.
Ah, yes.
Did you watch Even Stevens?
No.
They didn't have that in Okinawa?
No. In Japan, all we had was... No, I'm joking. We had like normal television, but it was like always a year too old. Yeah. Because we got it for free, but they wouldn't give it.
So you just had like Full House and Family Matters.
All I ever watched was Family Matters.
Honestly, I can't stand those shows, man.
I've never seen them. I never watched Full House. I've like heard of Full House. I mostly remember Drake and Josh and SpongeBob. Yeah. Those are like the two shows I really remember from my childhood.
Remember Invader Zim and Dragon Ball.
Bill and Mandy?
Yeah, The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that show.
I was like, I like that show a lot. The one kid with the tree house, football head.
Arnold? Codename. Oh, I was thinking
Codename
Kid Next Door.
Yeah, I remember that one. Codename Kids Next Door. Football Head. Is that Arnold?
Code Lyoko? Do you remember Code Lyoko?
I might.
It's that awful, like, 3D show where the kids go into, like, another dimension through a computer.
Dude,
and,
I
like,
feel
one
like
kid's
I've
a
seen this.
samurai, and they
That
all
sounds
have, like,
dope.
really large heads.
That sounds so
very weird.
familiar.
What's
Oh,
the
and
one I was thinking?
Yu-Gi-Oh! And Bakugan and... Oh, dude.
One of the... like, it's weird what parents allow you to watch and what they don't allow you to watch. Like,
Right.
my parents allowed me to watch Saving Private Ryan and, like, Schindler's List when I was a kid, but not Ed, Ed, and Eddie.
Well,
That
Chris.
show was off limits. I would be grounded if I was caught watching Ed, Ed, and Eddie. But not if I was watching, like, the military channel talk about the Holocaust. Or, like, the Korean War or the Vietnam War.
Oh my gosh. That's so true, though. Like, the weird things that you were allowed to watch. Like, I saw Aliens when I was, like, 8.
Yeah, like, I saw Alien and Jaws when I was, like, 3.
Like, why couldn't I watch freaking the George Lopez show? Like, or
Right,
whatever,
dude,
you
George
know?
Lopez. I never saw that because of that.
Dude, I would watch it all the time, but it's because it was on at like 8 o'clock at night, and my parents would always... My dad was still at work because he's insane, and my mom would be asleep or out or just doing something else, and I would just be watching the Lopez show. I don't remember what it was called.
It was just called George Lopez.
Was it called just George Lopez?
think
And
it
I
was
remember
called
the
George
song,
Lopez.
like the Lowrider song.
Yeah.
Man, those are some memories right there. I should not have watched those. Actually, my parents were right. But it wasn't as much him. It was like the comedy specials that would come on at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, everything. It was, like, anything from, like, Louis C.K. to, like, awful stuff like Dane Cook. Like,
Yeah.
but they would just be, like, on TV, and I would watch them as, like, a 10-year-old.
Yeah. No, I remember watching, like, Dane Cook when I was super young.
Dane Cook was really funny when your age was in the single digits.
Yep. Talk about, like, such an unfunny person.
Yeah, man.
He's like Seth MacFarlane for me.
But he sold out stadiums. Stadiums.
Yeah. There's a lot of stupid people out there.
That's right, man.
I mean, if you like Dane Cook, whoever's listening, I accept it.
That's correct.
But I don't like it.
I don't think I've heard a single word Dane Cook has said since I was like 12, though. It's been so
Yeah.
long, which I'm okay with. Goodbye, Dane. And on that, we end. Just kidding. But back
one
to what
more
we're
fast
supposed to be doing, you insane man. We got through one fast one of mine, and then we started talking about Dane Cook for half an hour. All right, here we go. Interstellar or Tenet?
I was thinking about this while I was watching it. I mean, I have to go with Interstellar.
Yeah, me too.
I think it's an obvious choice.
Me too. I definitely really enjoy Tenet, but Interstellar's the better movie. I think I love Interstellar.
Which this may or may not be a spoiler for our Futon fight later on. But I think Interstellar is his magnum opus. I think it's
Yeah.
the pinnacle of his vision and his execution. It's somehow an action movie, a sci-fi movie, and like a movie about family.
I know, and it's a
it's-
drama and a thriller.
It's a drama. It's honestly like one of the most heart-wrenching movies to watch. Like, it's so sad. Like, that movie reminds me of the end of Ender's Game. Like, whoever's read the book, when Ender leaves his sister and brother behind, knowing that he'll never see him ever again, because 2 months from now, while he's in space, they're already dead, and they got grandkids or something. It's one of the
It's like
saddest
they're already
things.
dead and they have grandkids. It's the same thing. I
But
understand.
like, that's one of the saddest thoughts ever. It's probably like why I would never want to go to space ever.
Right? Same, dude.
Because, like, the moment you leave, everything you know of Earth is gone, pretty much.
It's just gone. It's wild.
But yeah, Interstellar for sure.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think that it's also the perfect example of Christopher Nolan's talent, not just as a director of, everything else that's going on in the movie, but specifically of actors, where he just brings the greatest, like the best performances out of the people that he gets, even if they're huge, right?
Yeah.
Matthew McConaughey is perfect in Interstellar.
He's a really good actor. Murph.
Gosh, dude. I love Matthew McConaughey, though. I'd like him in almost everything. Even in Ghosts of Girlfriend's Past. Anyways.
And Mud.
I love Mud. Would you rather explain time inversion correctly or get kicked by Kenneth Branagh?
I'd rather be kicked by Kenneth Branagh just so that he can yell at me.
Yay!
You do it so well.
It's because I feel it all the time. Would you rather get cheese grated or rub some sunscreen on Kenneth Branagh's back?
I'd rather rub the sunscreen on his back.
Get his hairs all knotted around your fingers.
That's all. I hate grating cheese, man. I'm always afraid of getting my finger in there.
Oh, I hadn't even thought about that.
It never happens.
I have,
but in the back of my head, it's always there. Where like my little knuckles are gonna get caught.
Not the little
grated
ones.
Off.
I've definitely, when like making food, have cut off the tip of my finger and just left it in the food because I couldn't find it. Have you ever done that?
No.
It's pretty common. You can't find it because you're dicing something really fast, and then the tip is just gone. Like, well,
the tip
someone's
of your
eating
finger.
That. Yeah, a little bit of nail too. I've lost. You guys can't see this, but I'm showing Chris. I've lost like this part of my finger several times.
Honestly, that's your fault.
It's common.
You should like.
Happens to my mom.
You should know the claw
sister's done the same
technique
thing
by now. Gordon
I know.
taught us better than that.
I've certainly learned it now, but then you still sometimes, if you're really getting into it, chop your little knuckle. There's no escape, Chris.
I can't believe you left it in the food.
You can't find it. What do you want me to do?
You can't find it.
It's
what
little.
Are you cutting is flesh tone and not covered in blood.
Almost anything. Like what? Like think onion, garlic. Like so many of these things.
It should
Or
be
like
pretty
tomatoes.
easy to
They're
find
red.
a bloody stub of a finger.
It's not that big. It's a little piece. A little piece of finger.
Okay, you made it seem about to be like half your finger with some nail.
A little bit of nail. True. Man, I'll have to cut it off and send it to you so you know how much it was.
Yeah, I'll have to approve of the quantity of finger that got shuffled into the food.
Hey man, I think like half a rat is allowed in every hot dog you eat, so.
Yeah, actually I saw a video today about like a girl finding a septum piercing in a chicken nugget.
A septum piercing? Why?
I don't know.
Of all the piercings. A chicken nugget. Darn chickens with their septums.
From McDonald's, so don't go to McDonald's. I hate their chicken nuggets anyways.
Dude, Grace swears by them. Although, to be honest, I only like the chicken nuggets I make. I make lots of chicken nuggets, and I can't eat anybody else's now, because I'm the best to ever live.
Best.
Around,
I agree.
No one's ever going to take us down.
You're the best.
All right, I got a couple more here.
Okay.
You don't agree with this one, but would you rather watch Tenet without subtitles or actually understand what's happening?
I'd rather watch it and understand what's happening.
That means you have subtitles. You just got tricked.
That's fine.
What type of movie do you want to see next from Nolan? He really likes playing with time. What cool idea could we come up with? And
I remember we did come up with something really cool in the last time we recorded this, but I don't remember it.
I know, it's so sad. Because we had great ideas, man. We were soaring.
I think I actually have my audio still, so I can probably find it, but I'm not going to.
I don't know.
From Nolan.
He's played with time a bunch. Yeah. Right, Interstellar, Inception, and this all have a lot to do with time.
Yeah, it's basically all he thinks about.
All the time.
All the time. He did Dunkirk, which is also kind of about time.
I kind of want to see something really different from him.
Yeah.
Maybe I just want to see this movie, but a movie that's still about time where... Oh, it's like the day the Earth stood still. But no. But like, when time just stops. And like, what does one man do to like fill his life? You know?
That's interesting.
Like he's in New York and literally everything is paused.
I always had that thought as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what if I could freeze time and just get everything done that I wanted to get done?
You were an industrious child.
No.
But I agree, though. I understand.
Let's see. We got the space movie. We got the time movie. We got the war movie. We got the crazy
magician movie.
The magician movie.
The amnesia movie.
Yes. Maybe a movie about insomnia.
Doesn't he have a movie called Insomnia?
I really hope not.
I think he literally has a movie called Insomnia.
Oh my gosh.
Let me look this up.
Well, I know there's Memento.
I think he's got a movie called Insomnia.
Wow.
Yeah, it was his first film. It's called Insomnia.
All right. Sounds good.
Look who just failed.
You know what? I wouldn't mind another period piece of some sort. Like, get away from the stylish sexiness of Inception and Tenet. Maybe like some sort of film about the Revolutionary War or the Civil War.
You know what we don't have enough movies about? Is the rise of Napoleon.
You're right.
Napoleon's a freaking wild dude.
He is a wild dude.
He fought like the war of the first, second, third, and fourth coalition. Like bang, 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 bang.
Mm-hmm.
Destroyed everybody. All of Europe. Easily. Over and over. He's a wild dude.
He should make a movie about Andrew Jackson.
You love Andrew Jackson.
I do. He has some wild stories.
Abraham Lincoln Vampire Slayer.
Dude, I don't know. What do you think? What do you think Nolan should do?
I don't know. I'd want to... Because I don't actually want to see this really personal drama of like one man alone in New York. I want to see that movie, but I don't think Nolan's the guy to do it just because he's got this specialty for things that are huge, you know, and that's not a bad thing. It's just different. Because it's like classy, but huge. Man, I don't know. I think like a cool Titanic. I don't know. Like just something that's just gigantic and wild that happens. But I do like the idea of like a period piece. But at the same time, I have no heckin' clue, brother. I have no idea. I want everyone who listens to this episode to comment about what their idea is, because we've got nothing apparently this time. We had a great idea last time, but I can't remember what it was.
No, darn it.
That's why it's so sad. Well, maybe if you do go back and listen to your audio and just scrub through, I'd be curious to see what we said. But
maybe I'll add it into the end of this podcast if I find it.
There you go. But yeah, our answer is we would do nothing because we are not creative like Christopher Nolan.
I would say trust the master. He knows what he wants, and he'll get it done.
And he delivers. You know, different things, right? You know, some things are much more dramatic. Some things are a little bit more meaningful. Some things are character pieces. This one is a fun action movie, and that's all it needs to be.
And it's like, if anyone else tried to make this movie, they would get shot down so fast.
Mm-hmm.
But it got made because only Christopher Nolan can make this film.
And it was
in the
awesome.
way that it was made.
And I think it turned out wonderfully.
Yeah.
Which is that's kind of my last question that we can close off on. Mm-hmm. And that is this movie dumb or is this movie smart?
I think this movie's smart. But maybe it had some just dumb ways of explaining it or not explaining it to you.
I could feel that. I agree with you. I think it's a smart movie. I think it's going to gain a reputation for being dumb, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's smart. I think that people are just being big.
I think it's underrated.
Oh, 100%. This movie's great.
It deserves more recognition and praise.
No, I think it's going to age well. I think people are this is going to be like the movie that people are like, oh, you haven't seen Tenet. It's my favorite Nolan film. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I think that in 10 years, this movie is going Get it? In 10 years. In 10 years, people are going to really think that Nolan hit only net with this one.
Very good, Josh.
Thanks. And with that, we close.
Yeah, before we get into another tangent.
Before we start talking about someone else. But we thank you guys for listening. It's been fun having you. And again, really do. Comment below like your idea for like what you want to see Nolan do next. Tell us what you want to do. So we can pretend that we said it and then say that Nolan stole it from us.
Yes. And be sure to go back and listen to our other episodes. We have a very good interview with Joel Haver talking about the fantastic Mr. Fox.
Oh, yeah.
We remade Resident Evil 4 last week.
That's right.
And that is one of my favorite episodes.
It's a good one.
So go watch it. And tune in for the next Nolan film.
That's right, baby.
Dunkirk.
Yeah, I can't wait to get done with Dunkirk
You haven't seen
so
Dunkirk,
that I can do
right?
Interstellar. Yeah. I'm excited for Dunkirk. I've never seen it.
Dude, I'm excited for you to see it. I'm excited to rewatch it and try to gain a new perspective.
Hello, from the Futon.
From the Futon.
This has been Josh and Chris from the Futon with ABC Talks News. We thank you for joining us today, and we hope you have a great one. Bye-bye.
Signing out.
It was beautiful.
That was beautiful. Yeah. It was like... Hey guys, Chris from the future here. I did in fact go back and listen to my original audio from our first Tenet episode, and it turns out that we weren't that creative actually back then. We had just come up with like some horror movie, but we never said anything about like what it was or described it in any way other than it was a Christopher Nolan horror movie. So yeah, we're not that clever. Thanks guys.